he's asked me to lead the debate. So I start with some bad news, namely on ULEZ, which of course we are all incredibly disappointed that despite the fact that the majority of Londoners overwhelmingly oppose the expansion of ULEZ, the ultra-low emission zone, the out-of-touch megalomaniac Mayor of London has gone ahead regardless. The measure has already had an absolutely devastating effect on thousands of people across outer London. More than 2,000 Harrow East residents have signed my petition and shared their views on this measure. And even after a month of implementation, signatories are coming in faster and more frequently than before the expansion. The expansion has isolated the most vulnerable in society, with elderly people unable to afford new vehicles, having spent their pensions on a car when they retired, and thus then unable to make the necessary journeys without having to pay £12.50 each day. So if they want to go to the doctors, the pharmacist, the hospital, visit family, do some grocery shopping, I could go on. Basically, one resident recently wrote to me, "I'm disabled, my wife is a pensioner, and people will no longer visit me because of ULEZ, leaving us isolated from family and friends." How utterly tragic. Once the daily charge has been incurred, it's not even a simple procedure to pay it. This is heightened for the elderly, who are notoriously less tech-savvy. That's assuming they've access to the internet in the first place. And if the charge is not paid within a 3-day window, a £160 fine is incurred. To complicate matters further, there's an increasing presence of scam websites which are posing as TfL to take ULEZ payments, but are actually frauds with absolutely no association to TfL, and it seems no action being taken against them. Now, many of those on the lowest incomes, typically working night shifts, are unable to update their cars, particularly as non-compliant cars have crashed in value. In fact, I spoke to some people at the weekend whose cars were now worth less than £50, even though they're perfectly serviceable vehicles. The public transport links at the times when people need to travel for night shifts are also not available. So just to get to work and back, they're forced to pay £25 per shift, £12.50 each night, each side of the midnight. This cannot be described as fair, particularly as the Mayor drives a gas-guzzling a large Land Rover, which is non-compliant, yet he has given himself an exemption so that he can continue to drive his car while incurring no ULEZ costs. What a shambles. This expansion will also drive up the costs of other services. I spoke to a gardener over the weekend who says now he charges his customers £12.50 on top of his daily charge just to get to work and back again. So many charities will lose out because volunteers who will no longer be able to get to the charity headquarters or deliver for local food banks. Yet again, this leads to the most vulnerable losing out. Now, the ULEZ is only the latest of a barrage of ludicrous ideas from the Mayor of London. I've recently launched a consultation to hear the views of residents on his tenure, and I would urge everyone to visit my website and submit their thoughts. It has never been more important, in my view, to elect Susan Hall as the new Mayor of London in the elections next May.
Now, to get to the points raised by honourable members, my honourable friend for Harrow East made a fantastic speech, and he very much laid out the case for his petition and why the hard-working people shouldn't be held to ransom by the megalomania of the Mayor of London and his ULEZ charge. He mentioned the challenges of HMOs in his constituency, and many of us have felt some of the challenges, I'm sure, there. And he did say that the difference that his Conservative Council making in taking on a lot of additional social housing and making significant progress on road resurfacing. He also mentioned the India trade deal, and I'm really pleased that the government's making progress on the India trade deal. That's something that's extremely important in the context now that we have left the European Union, and it's important that we get the trade deals with what are the fastest growing economies in the world, and India is certainly one of them. In regard to